Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Divine exclusive video. So, I'm going to break down why do chosen ones look so young? Why does it feel like they age so backwards? And, this is several reasons why. Now, first of all, it's not like, the movie The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, where he was an old man when he first was born and he's like a baby when he, like, it's not like that, but it's just the fact of chosen ones. If you ever see a chosen one, just like, what you're looking at right now, you, they're always going to have, it's not that they're, that they look like kids, but they're always just going to look young. They're always just going to age differently. They're always going to just look like a young soul. You know that expression, I feel like an old soul, I'm an old soul. Well, chosen ones always look like a young soul. And it's mainly for spiritual reasons. So chosen ones come from higher dimensions. They carry a high base frequency, and they're technically not from this planet. So they're star seeds sent from a higher dimension, and that's why they vibrate. That's why everything feels so different. That's why the world feels so off, and they feel so unaligned with a lot of things that goes on in the world, because they're from a different dimension. They carry a high base frequency, and they're not really from this planet in terms of how they're designed. They're they're brought onto Earth as a means to shake up the system, as a means to shed light on a kind of mundane, robust kind of world that we live in. So the chosen ones, they age differently is because their timeline and their frequency isn't synonymous with how everything goes with the earthly timeline. So they have a slow biological aging. Me, myself, I'm 35. But see, the thing is, what the things that cause you to age, whether it's you know uh, social factors, whether it's smoking, whether it's drinking, whether it's diagnosis, whether it's bad habits and diet, and not getting the right nutrition, not getting the right things that your body needs, and stress and all these other things. There's so many different things that attribute to someone aging faster, but the reason that they don't, they age so much slower. Their soul, the chosen ones, their soul is fulfilled already. They have these spiritual alignments where it's just like a lot of a lot of them are, I'm not gonna like say they're like completely healthy, but a lot of chosen ones, they have this protection to where they don't deal with a lot of health crisis. I would just say that. So they don't really deal with a lot of factors that build into the aging. They handle stress well. They handle a lot of different things that causes a normal body to age faster. They handle a lot of things, and they avoid a lot of things that others can't, that lead to that fast aging, that lead to wrinkles, that lead to and I'm not trying to say that chosen ones are better, but this is just why they age so young. Their soul is fulfilled. They're from a higher dimension. So especially if a chosen one, let's just say a chosen one doesn't drink, they don't smoke, or they do those things very leisurely, they're definitely going to look way more younger than, like those are the chosen ones that are always going to look young forever. So when I'm 45 or 50, I'm probably going to look 30. I'm just always going to look like that. When I'm 60, I'm probably going to look 40, 45. And I'm not saying, of course, there's other people in the world that's like that. You look at some of the celebrities, or you just look at, you know, you heard the phrase, black don't crack unless you do it. But of course, there's a lot of people that look young. I'm not saying it's only chosen ones, but there's just a certain thing. Every chosen one, they do not look their age. They do not, like, it just like If you line up every single chosen one, you ask them their age, you're going to automatically take 12 or at least a good 10 to 15 to 20 years off what their actual age is. That's if they're adults, of course. But you're always going to do that is because they come from a spiritual dimension. They come from a higher base frequency where they're not wired with their biological aging as a normal human being, or as a regular. I'm not gonna say, of course, we are normal human beings, but as a regular person would be. It's the spiritual alignments. It's the spiritual vows. It's the spiritual divine entities that are in us that causes us not to, age like that. And me personally, I was someone that, you know, drank heavy for a long time. I smoked heavy for a long time. So I don't drink anymore. I smoke occasionally here and there, but just the fact of just those factors, the fact that I feel like I should have more mileage on my body. I feel like I should be aging a little bit more. Yes, I've dealt with stress. I know how to handle it better now, but just based on everything I've been through, I feel like I should be, looking closer to 35 than I am to 25. Uh, I think that's one of the reasons, you know, I realized at some point I was a chosen one. I was like, wait a minute, I put all these miles on my body. I should be looking a little older. Like I shouldn't be looking like I'm going to college. Like I should be looking a little old. So chosen ones just age backwards because, like I said, of those higher dimensions. And this is why it's always hard to really pinpoint. But, our soul is fulfilled. We carry a high base frequency. We're not on in alignment with the aging of a regular person. So chosen ones are always going to age backwards. They're always going to look young. And I'm just breaking this down. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, get this video out. Chosen ones age backwards because, like I said, we're from higher dimensions. Our soul's fulfilled. It's our spiritual alignment. So it has nothing to do with hereditary and all these other environmental factors, social factors, smoking, stress, and drinking. It has nothing to do with all that. It has everything to do with how we're spiritually made up and the frequency that we carry from the higher realm. All right. See you guys in the next video.